Ladies and gentlemen, hobos and ants, cross-eyed mosquitoes and bow-legged ants. You're right. Our last word is going to kick off the second show. Give a round of applause for Shem, please. Shem! Come on, I'm not hearing out there. Come on, this guy knows what he's doing around here anyway. Jeez. All right, then it's like A-M-A-R-O-K. I'm Rock. Is that you? Yeah. Oh, go to the on-deck chair here. Thank you so much. And you're new, right? This is the first time?
Yeah.
Oh, well, wonderful.
I was here in 74.
Well, nobody treated like a new person here. No, it's been too long. All right, give him a round, and let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Woo!
I wrote a little short story about a fledgling young couple. You could call them a couplet, I guess. And they'll probably move in together and rent a room at some point. The title of the story is Only a Paper Moon, so imagine Nat King Cole singing a song in the background. You never tell me anything real about what you're feeling. What's really going on inside that swirly head of yours? I don't know how you feel about us, what you want from this. You're such an enigma to me, she said, and took another loud slurp from her tall glass mug, soy latte foam coating her pouty upper lip. And he leaned back a little, inhaling slow and folding his arms gently like he does when he senses he's being directly confronted by someone who happens to hold some relational power over him with an apparently negative and absolute statement about his inscrutable character. And he has not yet encountered a way to sidestep the head-on charge intact and untrapped. And as he let his mind go down this track, he unfolded his arms and grabbed his plain white coffee-stained mug, feeling its warmth enter the palms of his hands. It was a slightly chilly midsummer afternoon, and the last of the morning fog had mostly dissipated. And in a couple of split seconds in between slow sips on his black coffee with cinnamon floating on the surface, he let himself be carried along by a familiar train of thought. He imagined that if he remained an enigma to her, he could somehow avoid becoming entangled, avoid all the messy emotions associated with commitment, expectation, and the inevitable disappointments that come with such emotional recklessness. His life so far had made him certain that sharing his inner narrator's thoughts and feelings, that internal spinner of personal beliefs, hopes, dreams, and desires, his self, as they say, that sharing his self with others in an unfiltered and direct way could lead to emotional dependence. It had happened time and again. He thought that if he could simply act as a mirror for the world around him and all the people in the world that he came into contact with, he would somehow keep from becoming entrenched. And at the same time, he thought he could give people what they want, some attentive and thoughtful reflections about themselves, and he could share his reflections about the world with them as well. But here he sensed some degree of danger. He felt that his reflections about the world would most likely contain some of his secret inner reverberations, and he knew from personal experience that the open intermingling of inner reverberations between people led to entanglement and entrenchment. But maybe if he carefully masked his inner reverberations as reflections, he could remain an untrappable and unscathed enigma to her. And I brought my waters.
I like that line. Oh yeah, no, I'll hold it for you. That way we can just grab it.
And he leaned slightly forward and responded, "An enigma? Cool word, I like it." A sly, ironic tone in his voice for effect. Then he looked up at the sky and noticed one of his favorite astronomical phenomena occurring once again. Hey, look at the moon. It's up in the sky and it's still daytime. It looks almost transparent. The moon is up, I'm feeling up, and you look beautiful with that foam on your lip. Tell me about your day. And although somewhat begrudgingly at first, she did. She liked talking to him. And as she talked, he thought, I'm an enigma to myself, but aren't we all? So simple, chuckling under his breath. So easy and elegant. And he stared up at the pale, paper-thin moon and listened to her talk.
Oh. Thank you, Shem. Water. All right, so now, as per one of our ancient traditions, a couple of quick announcements. I had looked at the clock and I did the math. If you can stay under 4 minutes, that would be wonderful. 3 would be, then I'd get everybody on with no problem. This is a brand new person, however.
I was here at
Give her a round of
7
applause.
o'clock.
Yeah, but we're going to treat you as a new friend. Come on! Sorry. I almost spilled the coffee over here.
Thanks. Thank you. I was in high school, up down the block. Okay.
How do you get on? Go close.
Okay. Fires throughout. Sorry. Fires throughout the planet. Proof that climate crisis exists. Okay. For the first time in recorded human history, this summer of 2018, never again, this cannot be. Who is going to give us the best offers to save all of us from ourselves? We've made our earth like an unfortunate woman walking without tits because her breasts are cut off. Our mom is baking, roasting, more this year than ever. A man put the scientists together. Let's see. His generous offering, soft as honey, caresses the tongue. It is not resignation. Project Drawdown calls us and asks us to continue walking. This offer is the solution to cure the fires. Solve the drama now with bravery. Recompose mom's breasts so she can return later. We imagine our mommy dancing to the dear truth. It will be good that almost all nations, they are baking, roasting themselves, and all the birds escaping and screaming, no more. Falling from the sky like drunks, checking. Alert, alert, they say in voices shaking with joy. Mom is not going to suffer anymore. They are not crazy. Everyone in the world is already attentive as soldiers, but the only war we kiss, survive. Please exclaim with me, the climate crisis is true, it's not snot. And who else do we kneel in front of to ask? Since finally everyone has grown, repeat, the climate crisis is true, it's not snot, not for a bit. We ask Earthship Homes, we literally ask Earthship Homes. They make houses from garbage of any town, and they are waiting. These great houses of freedom can grow food inside. They have walls made of car tires, loaded with dirt. Project Drawdown has solved the climate crisis with many of the scientists of our world. They know very well Earthship Homes. We are already with our hearts in the fingers of our hands making great sweet bread, human habitats. Here, your fabulous sweet bread is your rooftop covered with solar panels. All your poop becomes usable gold. That's how we go. Your water arrives from the stars and is stored inside, and it does not matter if you are in the desert or polar weather. All houses are completely independent of everything. So our poor burned Mother Earth can be healed by all modes. Her scars exist now. Mom has a huge smile, affectionate, proud, not pretentious, with great faith in us. I heard on the radio a progressive activist from South America who said that really already there didn't exist not even one party from any side. No conservatives, no centrists, no liberals, no leftists. How? What? He said, all of us without realizing it are dead people walking before our funerals. Since all the fires covering the earth in red and smoke the summer of 2018, there are only two types of global parties: those that solve the climate crisis and those that do not. There are no in-betweens. Awake, awake. If not, we are in the shithouse, impaled on huge cactus thorns like miserable, despicable shapeshifters and obviously worthless. This, yes, is the super great fucking bad catastrophe. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Amarok? Did I say that? Amarok?
Amarok, yeah.
Amarok.
Oh.
All right, I couldn't say it with the right.
Okay,
Clear.
that's okay. Good.
Okay, I don't like saying people's names incorrectly. When I was a kid, they used to call me David all the time. Okay, so Sharon Scott Kish is coming up, and then Jake Patterson. Jake? Is Jake Patterson around here? Yes, sir. Okay, you come up to the second chair, please, and Sharon Scott Kish, give her a nice round of applause. Like I'm saying, if we can go short, we can. And then after Jake, we got Tommy. Just so you know. All righty. She's ready. And Rock's steady.
This is a quote from the late Ron Dellums. The nuclear bomb is an equal opportunity destroyer. This is from James Baldwin. Every society is really governed by hidden laws, by unspoken but profound assumptions on the part of the people, and ours is no exception. It is up to the American writer to find out what these laws are and assumptions. It's James Baldwin. And this one's called Smooth as Silk. Dorothy was as smooth as silk and as black as satin. Clay, her husband, was a short, red-haired, freckled, drove a cab. They lived in what was called a kitchenette, or buffet. We called it a kitchenette. Basically, it was one room with a small section with a stove, a sink, and a shared bathroom. Since they lived on the second floor of our large Queen Anne house, there were 5 apartments on the second floor. Mr. Queenie, he also had a kitchenette. He was crippled and kept to himself mainly, listening to the radio. On the front of the entire house was Mrs. Gates. We called her Ma Gates. Very nice, proper lady. She had the luxury of having her own bathroom. Fabulous cook, shared food with the entire building. She would often come downstairs and hand out fried pies to the children on the block. Not that she did not have her hands full with her grandsons, triplets. The little girls loved these boys. They were like little toys to us. Every one of us wanted to take one. Ma Gates took the responsibility and good care of Mr. Quincy. Mrs. Warner, a nurse, lived on the second floor also, in another kitchenette. Usually, there was a morning schedule for the bathroom. Usually, Miss Warner was the first on the list since she worked an early shift. She was a nurse. Crisp white starched uniform, crackling slips, white nylons, hard-soled white Oxfords. Descending the stairs very quietly, closing the door behind her so softly. She would catch the bus on her way to Phyllis Wheatley Hospital. At one point, she'd been the head nurse at General Number 2 for colored. Wheatley was a smaller hospital. She took the apartment next door to Mr. Quincy, thought that it would work out. Better if she could be next to him. He could tap on the wall if he needed her. Across the hall from her was Betty, a hairdresser. Sometimes, especially Mondays, she did hair in her apartment. You could hear the clicking of the curling irons and the smell of the smoke. Sometimes she would do haircuts and hair for free for the building. She would do Mr. Quinley's, although he preferred to have my Uncle Buster do it. He wanted him to shave his mustache. Sometimes the guys in the neighborhood would take him over to the barber shop, where they could all sit and talk. The front porch was a wraparound structure, beautiful, swings on each side. On warm, hot days, people would gather in the building, and often passerbys would stop to gab with residents, often telling the latest gossip, get the latest news, spying on children, especially the teenagers, especially the teenage girls. Ladies kept a record of the movements of the teenage girls, usually to inform their parents before the girls could even get home. Dorothy on the second floor was so exotic. Her dark, dark skin, smooth. Little girls adored her. She had a widow's peak, a gold crown in the shape of a heart, and a diamond in it. She also painted her nails with moons, crescents at the bottom, red toenails, short shorts, halter tops, and her hair was dyed, fried, and laid to the side and bumped. Clay, her husband, a short man with pants up under his arms, pointed Stacey Adams. You could kill a roach at 10 paces in the corner. Dorothy worked for Russell Stover, great little candy stores, Blue Mirror. Started in Denver, ended up in Kansas City. She would bring home us defects. Needless to say, she was a hit with everyone. She also smelled of chocolate when she came home. Many people placed orders for her to be on her list, to look out for defects, and she would mark the box what they really were. No matter what the items were, we loved her. You'll take it. An eighth of the price. Clay sang with a quintet on Sundays at his church. On Saturday night was the practice. You could smell the fish frying in the apartment, and there was the a cappella, Clay, Maynard, James, and Jimbo. Wade in the water, children. Precious Lord, take my hand. All of the standards, feet tapping, keeping on the beat. Mr. Quincy would open his door, pop open a can of Ham's beer, and tap his foot. Dorothy would bring him fish, coleslaw, cornbread, and some vanilla pudding. Yum. If it was the first Friday, there would be a plate for Raymond, the boy who delivered the Watkins products. She never went to church. Dorothy never went to church. She said her Bible was enough for her, and she could hear the best singing and the music at home. Sometimes Saturday afternoon, we would meet her on the porch, and she would sit there. Shorts, her silky dark skin, legs, her toenails painted red, True Man's magazine on the swing, and a bowl of peach cobbler beside it. She would start plucking her eyebrows and use the mirror and tweezers, a bottle of alcohol, cotton balls, witch hazel, nail polish on the seat. Patiently, we would watch her, wishing we could look like her. We would mention it to our mothers, how pretty she was. Okay, but no gold crowns. In fact, most of us had teeth missing. But what if we got some gold foil and put it on our teeth and wrapped our teeth? Okay. Fall comes. It's school pictures. Girls have a plan. Let's get some gold teeth for our pictures. Got foil from the box candy? Great. Hide it in your lunch boxes. 9 a.m. photos. Let her rip. Girls have the foil in place. Smile. Snap, snap. Week later, packets of photos arrive at school. We are pleased. Run home, braids flying, 6 and 7-year-olds. Mother's open package and a sound heard around the block. What? Phones start to ring. Can you believe these little wenches? Lots of laughter. Calls to the school principal. 2 days later, mothers accompany us. Smile, no foil. Geez, foiled again.
All right, so you're new, right?
No, I was here like 3 weeks ago.
Okay, so Jake Patterson, ladies and gentlemen, and Tommy is next. He's taking the chair. Give him a round of applause. Try to go short, ladies and gentlemen. We really appreciate that. Tommy, go a little bit longer because he is the mini of the evening.
I'm gonna start this reading off with a joke that I thought was kind of funny. I already showed my Uncle Matt. He was pretty amused by it. But maybe you will be too. Maybe you won't. Okay, so here it is. Donald Trump is walking out of the White House and headed toward his limo when a possible assassin steps forward and aims a gun. A Secret Service agent new on the job shouts, "Mickey Mouse!" This startles the would-be assassin and he is captured. Later, the Secret Service agent supervisor takes him aside and asks, "What in the hell made you shout Mickey Mouse?" Blushing, the agent replies, I got nervous. I was trying to say Donald Duck.
Pop, 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 pop.
All right. On to the poems. Alright. This one's called Smoke. In the hazy cigar smoke in the dimly lit bar across the country, you were there. Smell of smoky perfume, your dancing eyes, your imperfections, your nonchalant way, your essence. You're as intoxicating as a whiskey I sip. As I am reminded of you on this cold night, how you dominated the entire space with your smile, your witty anecdotes, your habit of sneaking a cigarette. No, I won't tell. So far away, yet so close in a place like this. I wish I didn't think of you, but I can't help but to. Always admired the writing types, the artists, the singers, the dreamers. You crawled into my head with your ways, your eyes hid something else. Couldn't help but be me in a world where I usually pretend. You were home. Not all homes are these picture-perfect places with picket fences and families gathered by the fireplace. Some are a little broken, some carry secrets, some aren't picturesque. But you were still home to me. What good is a home that feels like another place? Even if it is what everyone thinks home should be. Should I aspire for a little box on the hillside? When you, with everything that comes with it, are what I want? That's Smoke. In keeping with the drinking theme, got a couple of drinks in my hands, I guess. If you're in a shot. So this one's called Maker's Mark. This is it. Sometimes I get some Maker's Mark and drink the night away, then close my eyes and hear the lies that you're here to stay. Building a facade, I'm over you. I tried, I lied. You can't mask it, you can mask it all you want, but from your maker you can't hide. Hiding even in my dreams, you're calling out for me, longing for your touch, while needing you to let me be. I'm in your realm, you look for me, not answering. I look around, desperate for a way to escape this house and town. Your gaze would be a freight train tearing through my soul. Amazing sight, impending fright. Again, I'd have to fill the hole. Running up to me as I'm dumbfounded standing there. As you wrap your arms around me, your warm body, your clean hair, the prolonged rain of clinks, the chain link armor, my charade, coming down with one embrace, like your touch was a hand grenade. I can't let that happen, so I hide and slink till I make it out. Then I wake up at 6 a.m. thinking, what the fuck was that about? I see the empty bottle, then I sigh to myself, when you mess with your maker, you're put on the bottom shelf. That's all I got.
All right, thank you. All right, and now this is our mini feature of the evening. Even though I'm telling people to try to go like 4 minutes or 3 if you can, he has he's the mini feature. He has extra time, but he said he's gonna try to shorten it up. So give him a round of applause. This is Come Here, Go Big Girl, and Buford, you're the next. Woo! As they say in France.
There is no America. Never was. The land already belonged to someone else. It never was a melting pot. The Pilgrims filled it with the blood of native peoples. It never was a give me your poor, your tired, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Like the sign said, no Irish, no Italian need apply. It never was a land of opportunity, though the sweatshops were always hiring. It never was all men are created equal. Some were considered 3/5. And what about women? It never was liberty and justice for all. Just ask the Rosenbergs or Sacco and Vanzetti. It never was freedom of speech. Even Mario Savio knew that. It never was freedom to assemble, just the right to a bloody head. It never was innocent until proven guilty. The headlines always know, way ahead of the jury. It never was freedom of religion. The Christian nation won't allow that. It never was a democracy. The Pledge of Allegiance says so. It never was a right to vote, except for some. It never was and America. Take a knee. Oh, say, can you see all this inequity and the people who live in the worst poverty? Cops who kill and go free, healthcare no guarantee, while the NRA sells bullets we cannot flee. And the wars they drag on, failing air quality, give proof to the lies under which this flag flies. Do, 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 do. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner ever wave o'er the land of the rich and the homes we can't afford? Amen.
What a voice! I tell you. He's one of those people I say, the voice. You know?
As I approached the bishop on that stage, I knew I was about to do it. Pull it off. Something they would talk about for years to come. The regal-looking clergyman sat smugly on his ornate gold throne in his white ecclesiastical drag, confident that I would follow what had been rehearsed. I wanted revenge on the priest who pulled me into his office and cut my hair because it was touching the back collar of my shirt. I wanted revenge on the brother who ran the school newspaper and rejected articles I wrote against the haircut rule and the war in Vietnam. He told me there was no freedom of the press in his school. I wanted revenge on the religion teacher who made me stay after class every day to scrape gum from underneath desks and clap the erasers as I gagged on thick clouds of chalk dust because I told him I didn't believe in God. I helped start an underground newspaper mimeographed clandestinely in the student council office after school. The principal denounced it over the crackling PA system one morning, threatening that if he found out who was publishing it, he'd suspend every one of us. I grew my bangs every day, slicking them back with the greasy hair stuff my brothers used. Kept the back of my hair short. I graduated magna cum laude. Was seated on graduation night in a cold metal folding chair on the stage. When my name was called, I pulled the bangs out from under my cap. They fell over my eyebrows, defiant clumps of hair that no doubt had the priest with the scissors, the brother editor of the newspaper, the religion priest swearing under their breath. Instead of kneeling and kissing the ring of the bishop as I was instructed, I grabbed the certificate from his hand, walked to the front of the stage, flashing a peace sign.
Yeah.
I don't know how many of those parents understood what I had done.
Huh?
The priest in the front row glared at me. They knew, the bishop knew, there was nothing they could do. How fitting that my 12 years of Catholic school ended not with a whimper, but with a bang. Is it almost 8 minutes? Because I'll end there if it is.
It's about, you're at 6 and 6.
I'm at 6.
Plus, 6 plus.
Why don't I just end there for a second?
How are we coming back up? I love those stories. Buford Button is now, Rob is after Buford, but Rob, you're over there, so you don't have to move. And then we got Robert, Kelso, Antoinette, Richard May, Audrey, Hal, Shem. And we got Greg, Yasmin, Ed, and other people there. We got a lineup, ladies and gentlemen. You're on there. We got line them up, head them up, move them out. All right, roll them. Roll them. Hey, Bluebird!
All right, this is called Poetry Is. Poetry is dudes and dudettes writing about many topics. Mine, mostly about my life. Poetry is the softly lit sky, barely being able to see. Poetry is love gone wrong many times, occasional long-term relationships spread over 35 years' time. Poetry is my mind spinning, if I'm lucky, and not getting too dizzy. Life is the poetry of encounter with the mind and what it creatively perceives.
Yeah.
Here's
Poet
one,
on poems.
here's one of my painfully personal poems. Here we go. I have to do them. This is called 68 and Counting. Last December 27th, I turned 68. This December, 69 if I'm lucky. Last year, for most of the year, only 67. People, especially young people and supervisors, think of me as old and try to get me to retire. They think they think that they have to retire at 65, what I consider a young age. I can still write poetry, attract a smart, beautiful woman, help her walk her lively dog, and teach. There are many other things I can still do, and I'll ponder these things as I keep Cindy, the dog in question, asleep on the sofa as I continue to write.
That's the one of your life. And Rob is now, and then Robert, Kelso, Antoinette, Richard, Audrey. Those are the next two individuals. And like I say, try to go a little short because of the time and circumstances that we find ourselves in. Long Dellums and Kingsville.
1972,
75.
75.
High school.
So we're looking forward to your next appearance in 2068
Yeah,
or
all
9.
right.
All right.
Alright, let's see, I just blanked on, I had a little intro planned here.
I love that intro.
Yes. We do not hear the poem or the song as it is, but as we are. And I wasn't going to tell you who wrote this song, so as to you not to have a prejudiced, biased, but I think I should because it's got some interesting resonance. It is an obscure Marvin Gaye song, and when you hear it, you're going to wonder how it possibly got to be obscure, but go home and listen to it. This is called Piece of Clay. Fathers, stop criticizing your sons. Mothers, please leave your daughters alone. Don't you know that's what's wrong with the world today? Everybody wants someone to be their own piece of clay. Everybody wants someone to be their own piece of clay. We all talk of kindness, but it's only just a word. Brother, turn on sister in this cruel world. And that's what's wrong with the world today. We should all love each other, love and take one another. We should all love each other, love not hate. Oh no. Everybody wants someone to be their own piece of clay. Everybody wants someone to be their own piece of clay. Everybody wants someone to mold and shape their own way. Everybody wants someone to be their own piece of clay. Who's next? How tall are you?
Oh, Robert. Robert? It says Robert here. Oh, all right. So we're gonna turn the thing that way, and I don't think the microphone will reach over there.
Try?
Yeah, see how far it goes. And,
A lot of chords.
well, there is a lot of chord, but you know,
You can move this stand too.
I'll just hold it.
yeah. Yeah, just, yeah, wait, don't pull out. Okay, there we go.
This is the beginning of a longer work. So I'll go right with it. The beginning, word, person, if, tide, only. Use, cut, worlds express, beyond, ebo. New, come on. Worst, do not boil your veil in a mum's milk. The Church of Uocon, Christ, the spirits of the holy in heart. That's the title I got for a church. This poem begins softly and gets louder. I once knew new grass, light. Reeds by reeds who wanted trees, for them I write this poem. High upon the contemplation of the forest, the reeds knew leaves and webbed deep strains of music, as music is the gain of all the buried ears and eyes that even cry, or laughing try to pleasing too. Then I was a Jew, sweating fire with signals through the wind, took me never to their trust entire back again, but in pieces they once played beyond. And those people saw me leave the fray that day I left them there the deepest way to return the loss of prey, that we may raise all hands beyond the sky and come back all to stars, the stars' light glide one day, where all we may then be free and at last say Ormain. And this is a personal poem to a person I have many names for in a relationship. Every time he knows he's being loved, he is loved, he feels clever, man, oh man. He's a non-stop man, oh man every time. He's a lover for a lover boy, a woman for a man, that man of mine, that he's a real boy. When you want to take his hand, he's a non-stop winner for a loser, for the losing a non-stop loser, for begin to want to know what he is really into. He'll dream you lies so true you will want to know again, that sleep that kills, that wake me please, that oh stay. Yet when he goes, you'll want again. That guy's another something, to tell him true is all the live long day is what you want to do to my own good night.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you, Robert. Kelso? You're new here, right? Correct. Okay, good. Kelso is new here. Give him the kind of a record we like. Congratulations, young. How do you live it? Is this Kelso?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
Oh. This is I dedicate to Gregory Wood at the Forest Bookstore on Buchanan Plaza in Japantown. It's called The Stone River. At the edge of the sun, beam, Buchanan Plaza. I seem to be a sun spot, me soul, mirasol. I cry, grito, gritar, gate. My eyes for Pete, peace. Peter Kenichi Yamamoto died here. The bus, number 2 setter, pulls up. I walked here instead. And one last poem. See if I say this right. Querido hermana Ali, that's my younger sister, my favorite person in the world. I am taking my medication. I took my medication. It is leaking into my body, our body, the same mother we share. How is Fiona, my niece, who Yamada calls me the imposter? Have I lost her? I am passing for normal. Thank you for listening. I am taking my robot medication. My wrist aches. I am not a poet. I am a flamboyant sunspot. Thank you, hermana de la raza, my blood sister, mi sangre hermana. Thank you.
Thank you, Kelso. I love it. And now, my co-host, who's been very patient for me and helping me here in ways uncountable to humankind, Antoinette Payne, my friend. And then Richard May, you're up next. And then Audrey Howell, and then Shem and Lord Haw Haw.
This is called Soulmates. Patchouli oil fills air when motorcycle cop stops bus, travels at night with no passengers, jetting through empty streets fueled by eerie fluorescent wands. Destinations unknown, ride only for missed connections, finding one another for good before next tour leaves. Some relations withstand time, cost, and commodity, as recognize appears to nurture humanity. Choose heaven. Take passion, mysticism, spirituality, our heart's radio waves, unseen effects, roots, trees, deep past linoleum, in airport waiting room, unlikely home to flourishing green leaves, photosynthesize poetry's call, saviors look farther than daily chores, note invisible actions recalled, whispered to all who hear. Wholehearted courage, compassions as true, embrace vulnerability, birthplace of love, joy, gratitude. No control, no prediction, leaning into shame, fear, asking for help, initiating sex, getting fired, losing the sale, selectively numb, hard feelings impossible, stand in debt, obese, medicated, addicted. Make uncertainty certain, blame to displace pain. We pretend we do not affect others. Seeking worth and love to be seen, deeply seen, wholehearted, no guarantees, believe we are enough. Waiting as people walk past, employees belong here, Customers called guests prepare to shop. Cars, houses, little dog vests with Velcro wraps. It does not matter. Program to consume, waiting, work week to end, retirement unknown, vacation to far lands, new job, old music, create art, let it all go for stillness of God's peace today. I claim his gift, I return his love. And sharp but sweet. This isn't even my final form. Thick ankles, big butt, sexy sway, shape-shifting encompasses happiness as humble failure jumps ship. She wore black shorts, thigh-high boots. On her backside in glittered letters it said juicy.
I love it. See, that's how to have an ending line. That's an ending line. And Richard May. Richard May and Audrey, you're next on the on deck chair. And you're going to do what you're going to do.
So I have 3 short monologues. One was written by Shakespeare, one was written by Tom Stoppard, and you get bonus points if you can figure out who wrote the third one. A man breaking his journey between one place and another at a third of no name, character, population, or significance, sees a unicorn cross his path and disappear. That in itself is startling, but there are precedents for various kinds of mystical events. Or to be less extreme, a choice of persuasions who put them down to your fancy until, my God, says a second man, I must be dreaming. I thought I saw a unicorn. At which point, a dimension is added that will make the experience as alarming as it will ever be. A third witness, you understand, adds no further dimension, only spreads it thinner, and the fourth thinner still. And the more witnesses there are, the thinner it gets until it is as thin as reality. The name we give to the common experience. Look, look, recites the crowd, a horse with an arrow in its forehead. It must have been mistaken for a deer. You do look, my son, in a moved sort, as if you were dismayed. Be cheerful, sir, our revels now are ended. These are actors, as I foretold you. We're all spirits and are melted into air, into thin air, and like the baseless fabric of this vision, the cloud-capped towers, the gorgeous palaces, the solemn temples, the great globe itself, yea, all which it inherit, shall dissolve. And like this insubstantial pageant faded, leave not a wreck behind. We are such stuff as dreams are made on, and our little life is rounded with a sleep. Sir, I am vexed. Bear with my weakness, my old mind is troubled. Be not disturbed with my infirmities. If you be pleased, repose into myself, and there lay down. A turn to I'll walk to still my beating mind. Wheels are set in motion, and their place is assured. We are condemned to it. Each move is dictated by the previous one. That is the meaning of order. Because if we become arbitrary, it'll just be a shambles. Just be shambles. Because if we discover, just happen to discover, or even suspect that our spontaneity was part of their order, we'd know that we were lost. A Chinaman of the Tang dynasty, and by which definition a philosopher, dreamed he was a butterfly. And from that moment on, He was never quite sure that he was not a butterfly dreaming he was a Chinese philosopher. Envy him in his twofold security.
Richard. Just put these down. There we go. Thank you. Beautiful. A triplet. Is it a triplet? All right, and now we have Audrey. Give her a round of applause. Hal Robbins is next. Then Shem, then Greg, then Yasmin. We got a whole raft of people out here. And to try to keep your time careful so we can not, go crazy on
And
this.
we start.
Oh, yeah.
Now, well,
Yeah.
hi everybody. Testing, 1, 2.
Yes. go ahead.
I'm with T Roots Multicultural Arts, and I finished the work day early, and reading on behalf of my mother. So she says hi to you all. She's mostly deaf in an assisted living facility in Baltimore, and she writes a lot. And she wanted to wish Dan a happy birthday. She heard about your little regular event here.
Thank you.
And so this one's for you. Put yourself in a poem. It's that kind of a day. The sky is, or seems, a blue umbrella just for you. You don't have to care what others say, thinking you're crazy and all that. Have the minute. Imagine you own the blue sky and the grass, up from the black. Think that past sunny weather in the dark, they are your stars. So that's one. So, and then to continue on the theme of umbrella and sky and all that, here we go. This is more in tune with the theme of couples. The blue umbrella. The wind tosses the blue umbrella high. The space that was under it still holds the sweethearts' laughter that warmed them as they ran under the snow sky. Laughing again, the man and woman thrust their hands higher towards the clouds. Are they reaching so for the blue umbrella or for the joy minutes they lived in its place? That's all.
Thank you, Audrey, and say hello to your mom.
Okay.
All right. The lovely and talented Hal Robbins, and then Greg Pond. Is Greg Pond still here? Okay, Greg, then you're next after Hal. And Shem is after Hal. Hal, Shem, Greg, Yasmin, like that. Sorry.
I'm glad you have it worked out. To an Ancestor by Ruth Stone. Sir, will I know your name in paradise, when I am free of the loutish flesh and risen above anguish, yea, perceiving without eyes? Before my turn, you loved the flesh that dies, even as I marveled upon the compact prison. Sir, will I know your voice in paradise? Then, more than now, the meat was beset by flies, the appetite and soul by guilty fission. Above anguish, yea, perceiving without eyes. My speaking voice still turns the tunes it tries. Here where the fire is mortal, I press on. Sir, will I know your voice in paradise? You who before my grandsire could surmise, spewed your descendants in a grand emission. Above anguish, yea, perceiving without eyes. This is, no, I'm sorry. When my true ear, when my real ear, that in the flesh ear lies, joins with the several parts, eternal mission. Sir, will I know your voice in paradise? Above anguish, yea, perceiving without eyes. Yes, here's a little one by the same poet called Dissension Among Viewers. Annie Oakley, my darling, do you regret the handmade bullet turned to sugar jet, shot from guns, my fiery-hearted pet? Around 5, along the quiet avenues, when the smell of frozen steaks and instant stews causes the nose to twitch. Do we get sweetheart? No, brassy, trigger-hearted kid. We get you and the oath that flipped its lid. Shot from some hack writer's loaded quid.
And now Shem, who closes out the second half, but we have a lightning round with Greg, Yasmin, Ed, JJ, Aaron, and Alan.
That's 2 lightning rounds in 2 weeks.
I know, it's like we haven't had one in years, now we got 2 in a row.
All right.
As they say in France, what the hey.
So, about 5 months ago, I wrote this poem, which was like the first poem in a flood of poems that kind of gave me the courage to start doing this in front of people. And I finally got a title today, Dialectics. My simulacra do not fit inside your letterboxes. My emoticons do not reflect your pixelations. My unhinged front doors skulk around the edges of your banquet hall campaign dinners. My forest floor mycelia often appear bemused by your chewing gum stained sidewalks. My earthworms thrash about in your cracked concrete rain puddles. My good hair, when oiled up and shining, sublimates your disdainful glances. My itinerant amalgamations interpolate your purposefully designed algorithms. My inner crunchy Beavis feels simultaneously repulsed by and drawn to your outer creamy butthead. My market-driven cycles of therapeutic release get tripped up at every turn by your swarms of deep data-driven drone hordes, 3D nanoprinting endless piles of neo-Freudian desires every time I risk it and step out from under the protective shield of my inner sanctum. My adverse childhood experience survival maps pair exquisitely with your trauma-triggered psychotic interludes. My heart dreams, clouded over by probable coronary artery bypass surgeries, ache for your laparoscopically removed gallbladder insights. My inner sense of nothingness, smelling of ozone and tobacco, desperately needs a hug from your indignant sense of self-righteousness, oozing red wine, rage, and heat rising in waves. I give it a good practice throw, and my kidney stone skips 19 times across to the farther shore of your steaming pool of bile. My awkward approximations of antiquated analog interfaces are not quite capable of successfully coupling with your carefully crafted drop-down menus of indefinitely recombinable mood textures, but the resultant ripples of distortion and static can be surprisingly genuine. My melancholy personifications of condemned 20th century brick tenements harsh the swoony buzz of your anthropomorphized ant colony high-rise micro-apartment complex with incredible walk score aspirations. My rootless cosmopolitan nonchalance unnerves your hard-fought provincial sense of well-rootedness. The fanning cracks in the corners of my rose-colored sunglasses reveal infinitely recurring fractals of your harsh realities, and like a cunning linguist caught in somebody else's glass bead game, I revel in the gratuitous pleasures of submerging myself in the staccato rhythms of a crumbling empire's lingua franca, steeped in the street creoles of creative resistance at the bottoms of the turtle stacks. I talk my smack, drink my coffee black, no cream, no sugar, just put a little bit of cinnamon in it.
Now that's why we have him the way he is. We like that. Mr. Pond, give him a round of applause. And Yasmin, is Ed Mikey still here? Yasmin, Ed Mikey, just check.
I think Ed left.
All right. Okay, so great.
Here's
Pond.
some flyers for an event that will be at the end of the month. Clara Sue is putting on an event at Clarion Music in Chinatown, and I will be one of the poets involved.
These?
Yeah, there's not that many, and the people are interested. They can.
Okay.
Alrighty. Two quick ones. Watching. You don't know who, but I'm watching you. Through slanted evening blinds. Every once in a while, peeking between, you catch my eye, or so it seems. I simultaneously feel flushed and chilled as you look away and back again to catch me staring still. This silly cat and mouse game becomes a test of will. A partially parted curtain shifts across the sill, furtively spying through the veil that covers eyes while you spend your time watching mine, watching you.
And that's from one of his books, just so you know.
Thank you. Happy birthday, Dan.
Thank you.
Mano to man, and mano is the Spanish word for hand. Mano to man, we greet with warm contact, but no closer than hand to hand. A cordial exchange. Don't work too hard, have a nice day. Open palms share many things we feel between the eyes, but never dare to say. Two smiles in a grip, solid and tight like a fraternal kiss. Fingers embrace an intimate seal for what seems like the longest seconds ever made. The deeper you squeeze, the weaker my knees, the quicker I need to break away, lest anyone guess my motives or question my masculine ways. Your mano, wide, line, and comfortably rough, fits mine like a broken-in mitt or a favorite leather glove. As we greet for our game of catch, with a pair of hands mutually clenched and clasped in manual love. Thank you.
That's great poem, the boys. I was told that Yasmin and Ed MyQ are not here currently still. They left. Just checking. Yeah, Ed MyQ, Yasmin.
Yasmin.
No, yeah, she was here, but I think she realized she was coming on late and couldn't stay. And then Ed MyQ has a similar situation. He has Ryan. All right. So the next three readers in the anti-penultimate, penultimate, and ultimate in that order. We have J.J. Rush, Karen Milana Magoon, and Alan Harris. Now, if you haven't read and you're supposed to read and you don't say anything now, and then I'll have to make up things as I go along. JJ, come on up. Give him around. He hasn't been here in a while. We got Karen and Alan. Crying out loud. As they say in France, or Belgium, actually. They say it in Belgium.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
My name is J.J. Rush. Anyway, Little Willie and the Moon. To my enormous benefit, it was far from a silent night when the moon winked at me knowingly. By winking at me twice this way, that certified to me our mutual pedigree and inheritance. I sucked up to my new patron with glee, applying my power immediately. A Rihanna-looking female, bent over, picking bananas, had long pestered my dreams. Not to be a cad, I choreographed her gently into my arms, being the good guy that I am, and as gentlemen are apt to be. She having seduced my budding and youthful potential, right away I took her aloft in my customized drone machine. High above the English countryside I'd heard so much about, over Piccadilly Mayfair and Town Market, we descended for lunch and a special shopping spree. Purchasing my fiancé's engagement ring soon after, and lickety-split, we were all off again, this time destination Venice. That's us in the rainbow-colored gondola pushed along the waterway by two very capable oarsmen. Looking again, you can see us taking selfies. Look closer, and on the table is a flask of bourbon to thank the moon for its highly appreciated patronage. Pulling the shades, and my fiancé's whimsy, of course, would let the moon go and have its way. The evening cuisine of Mamma Mia's spaghetti came recommended and was supreme. Also was the meeting of Madame's expectation, where I blowtorched the sheets and we went on to nail every spot on the European continent. Sadly, from out of the blue came fake news involving the Queen and a cover-up. The big question was, how did Mother Nature come by her sensational gifts? Oil wells 40 leagues under the sea, Christmas trees growing worldwide prolifically, artichokes and cherries available and plentiful. Now get this, without a sugar daddy anywhere to be seen. Until someone noticed the moon chasing Mother Nature around relentlessly as if he owned her. My best guess is Mother Nature has likely been played. Fake news or not, can we imagine she loved it a bunch anyway? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Aaron, Len, and Magoon, and then we got Alan, and then Nasara, right? Okay. Miss Sarah?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Happy birthday. Dan Brady is the man, unstoppable, unmatchable. That's Dan. Poet friend, humorist, loves haiku, and people cannot be replaced. Happy birthday, Dan Brady. Thank you for your years of helping poets. Okay.
All right.
Haiku today. And this has nothing to do with Dan. Pesticides and death.
I'm glad you made that transition clear.
We got to dichotomize here. All right. Dicamba spreads poison, destroying 3.6 million acres of farmland, of food, destroying crops, destroying families. The poorest are victims, and the soil, our earth, our mother, rocks in pain. Children suffer from the pains of Mother Earth. Chlorpyrifos, neurotoxic pesticide, retards development of children's brains. Our own government is taking its time to ban chlorpyrifos and other pesticides proven to kill, to bring cancer and neurological illness. Monsanto and its ever-ready Roundup continue to be blessed by government. Go, Monsanto! Spread your toxins. The way is free to invade our children, to invade the earth, our mother. The way is free to kill, while our own Environmental Protection Agency washes its hands and holds our lands out to dry. A tiny piece of plastic. I am a tiny piece of plastic. Once I was a plastic bag, holding a turtle that died when a child forgot me. Once I was a plastic toy, a baby sucked me all day, sucking up my poisons. Once I was a toy truck, or maybe a plastic shoe or a sharp computer part that washed up on the beach and was gobbled up by an albatross, feeding on me for sustenance for her flight of 5,000 miles with no food until she arrives at her destination. Her tummy full of plastic. Nearly all seabirds eat plastic. The tiny parakeet auklet eats the most, diving for food in the north near Alaska. 8 million tons of plastic flow into the oceans yearly. In Thailand and Spain, whales and other large marine animals wash ashore, stomachs loaded with plastic. I am a tiny piece of plastic, broken down from bigger plastic into a tiny fragment you cannot even see. I float in the sea with millions of my brothers and sisters. I will be food for fish or other sea creatures who will die, thinking they are nourished by me, or will be caught full of plastic pieces like me, and I will find my way into your dinner, or I will find my way into an enormous gyro bigger than the state of Texas, swirling and floating like a giant pool of plastic, contaminating our great ocean. One voice cries out we must listen. The little island of Dominica has banned all plastic. Determined to regain her pristine waters, determined to help rid the ocean of plastic, rid the ocean of me. I should die 1,000,000 times to save this earth and all its waters. I have a last one.
That's when you're really tiny.
Well, just stop me. Toxic soup. I just got into this pesticide thing. Toxic soup. Timothy McVeigh used petroleum-based fertilizer to blow up the Murray building with ammonium nitrate. A disaster for water, a disaster for the shoreline. Spill off from fertilizer has killed off much of the Gulf of Mexico with asphyxiating algae blooms and oil spills. And the Gulf becomes a toxic soup, just like so many shorelines of the world and their wetlands. A toxic soup we brew each day throughout the world, witches brew, stewed to create water deserts, served with concrete roads and parking lots, barring the way for aquifers, to replenish what was once destroyed with toxic soup, damage far greater than Tim McVeigh's destruction of the Murray building with fertilizer.
Aaron Orlando again with the news. Unfortunately. And now Alan Harris before Sarah, right? Okay. And Alan Harris?
Thank you.
Is this Alan Harris?
Yes, right up here.
Alan?
White courtesy telephone.
Alan? Why is it always a white courtesy telephone? What? Blue or green courtesy telephone?
Beige, it's a beige courtesy.
Beige, yeah.
Happy birthday, Dan.
Thank
You're
you,
a wonderful
Alan.
person and a wonderful poet. Blah, blah, blah.
Thank you for the blah, blah, blah. That was very well done.
I just want to say, I just realized as I was coming up here that I have two poems here, and one I reference assholes, and the other I've referenced my penis.
I'm glad you're reading them together.
Yeah, so I just, paging Dr. Freud.
Paging Dr. Freud, Dr. Freud.
If you're nice to people, chances are that they will be nice to you, and then you will have friends all of your life. Unless the people that you're being nice to are assholes, in which case they're just pretending to be your friend, and they will take advantage of you and screw you every chance they get, which will make you jaded and cynical and make you want to not be nice to people, in which case you will be resented and shunned, and yours will be a sad and lonely existence. Unless the people you're not being nice to are assholes, in which case they will recognize you as one of their own, and they will bring you into their circle, and then you will have friends all of your life. Of course, all of your friends will be assholes, but that's better than being alone.
Was that a political poem?
Thank you. I don't have to worry about kissing my boss's ass, because I don't need a job, because I don't need money, because I don't need to eat, and I don't need a place to live. And I don't have to worry about my cholesterol, because I don't have arteries to clog, because I don't have a heart. And I don't have to worry about who to vote for in an election, because I don't need to breathe the air or drink the water, and I don't have to worry about the crime rate or the quality of education for my children, or whether or not my country's policies are helping to destroy the world, because I don't have children or a country. And I don't have to worry about having sex, because I don't have a penis popping up every few minutes saying, "Hey guy, you need to have sex." And I don't have to worry about finding love or a girlfriend or a wife or the possibility of growing old and alone, because I won't grow old. And I don't have to worry about the meaning of life, or whether or not there's a God, or an afterlife, or whether or not we're alone in the universe, or if I have even the slightest chance of ever getting to sleep with an extraterrestrial, because I don't have a penis popping up every few minutes saying, "Hey guy, you need to sleep with an extraterrestrial." And I don't have to worry about finding the right therapist to help me deal with the neuroses brought on by childhood and present-day traumas, because I didn't have a childhood and I don't have a present. Because I'm not here. Thank you.
What is in the mind of Alan Harris? And now our concluding performer, poet, Sarah. You've been here before, haven't you? Okay, give her a round as she comes up. I want to make sure in case you hadn't been here for it, I can make mistakes.
That's okay.
Okay, this one's kind of short. It's called I Am. Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
Okay. I am a survivor of something that internally attacked my soul. I am a flower structurally grown. That's it. Now I'm a hero. I didn't want to go home because my depression lay within those walls. I stepped on the crumbled pieces of my heart, flushed dreams and vivid imaginations down the drain. You drained my heart. Some say my eyes can tell a story. I would like to think at the same time my heart sings a symphony. Most days my anger erupted and my emotions formed into wax. And every night I'd light the candle and think of all the reasons I should have never married you. I've come to learn that what you did does not define me. It's just what fuels my fiery ambition and strictly aids me to get up in the morning. To save lives, to be a hero to someone like me, and save the world from someone like you. One more, okay. I admit, some people, we need to take accountability. You know, that's my biggest problem. Like, I used to not take accountability, but I think I take a lot of accountability now for the shit that I do. Most times. I admit it, I'm young, but can you admit that you are wrong? I have no fancy words for you. I wish I could write a song. I want to let the world know that it is okay to be strong, that sometimes you have to lead, but that doesn't mean that you're wrong. We live and we love, but do we love to live? Do we care about ourselves? Why should I put you over me? What do my tears mean to you? You don't have to admit it. I can see it in your eyes. I can tell by the way you walk, the way that you talk, the things that you do, that life has grabbed you, but sporadically, not even understanding why. I pray for you not to be swallowed up by the earth and mankind. And at some point, I felt abandoned and left behind. I was also confused. I felt abused, nevertheless used. What do my tears mean to you?
Thank you so much. Welcome back. All right, so now, as you remembered when you came in, you signed your name next to a number. I've been shuffling these cards with numbers on them, and my dearly beloved compatriot here is going to cut them one time, and I will begin taking care of them. Just to show you, Isaac Asimov's powered the foundation. Sorry. Isabel Allende, Daughter of Fortune, Dancing with Wolves, Holmes, England, two parts of America, the report on the right with Jerk